Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, White Schwartz, One Piece, Digimon, Tops. What is the one thing that all of these TCGs and more have in common? Well, it is several things. For one, is the fact that people all over the world can play with these cards, trade with them, collect them, and even also sell them. Another thing that these TCGs have in common is the fan base. For example, a Pokemon person can talk about Pokemon with a Yu-Gi-Oh person, and a Yu-Gi-Oh person can talk about Yu-Gi-Oh with a Tops person, and so on and so forth. Especially if they all have a passion for more than one TCG. But there is another thing that these TCGs have in common, and it is the worst reason, and it's the worst common denominator of them all: scalpers. Now this epidemic started during the COVID-19 pandemic in March of 2020. During this time, people were over-exaggerating, if you will, about cards being overpriced and so much other bullshit. So much so that people would literally right before the pandemic, people would go to their local Walmart, their local Target, their local Costco, Meijer, whatever store was in their city or in their town or whatever. They would go to some major store branch and buy out everything, and buy out everything and sell the weaker packs to their sellers. This is what's known as scalping. To give you a perfect example of scalping, here's actually something that has been an epidemic for the Pokemon TCG. Over the last few years, the Pokemon company had released so many crazy sets, including 151, Team Up, Rebel Clash, I think it's called, the booster set with the evolutions. What was it called again? I'm gonna have to look it up. Give me 1 second, because I believe that Leonhardt actually opened up this set a long time ago. Oh, Prismatic Evolutions was the set. Prismatic Evolutions. What else? Prismatic Evolutions, Surging Sparks, Shrouded Fable, Stellar Crown, just to name some of them. Even also the most recent set for the Pokemon TCG, Destined Rivals. Interestingly enough, all of these booster sets for the Pokemon TCG has had at least 7 cards that were so expensive. This is where the scalping comes into play. People would would buy out boxes of booster boxes, uh, uh, blister packs, EBTs, or sorry, ETBs, or well, I'll just shorten for Elite Trainer box, and so many other like different products that are in regards to that booster set, to that specific booster set. They would buy them out, scale the packs, and keep the heavy ones for themselves, and sell everything else at 10 times their original value. Now, obviously, this has been something that this topic was something that I had touched on just a little bit a few years ago, but I never really got in depth with it like I'm going to right now in this video. So how this whole thing works is, again, as I mentioned, people would go to their local Walmart, local Target, Costco, Meijer, or if you live in the UK, your local Tesco, I believe I believe is the name, and they would buy out everything, literally everything, and would scale the packs, keep the heavy ones for themselves, and sell the light packs at 10 times their original value. Like if a booster pack, if a Pokemon booster pack would go for let's say $6, for example, scalpers would sell that very same light pack for literally like $100, which is the worst case scenario for those who are looking to pull the big chase card of that specific set. Even with that one set, prismatic evolutions, that booster set actually was so popular a few months ago that people would go to Costco or Tesco or wherever and take everything. Literally, like the moment the set was in stock, boom, they would go straight to buying out everything, or at least buy out what they can, because of the fact that more people want the same thing. It's the same thing with Yu-Gi-Oh. Take some of the quarter century sets that we've had over the course of the last year. I remember when Stampede came out. I think what was it, earlier this year, if I remember right. There was a few people, and I had seen it in some reels on social media. People would literally buy out the blister packs of quarter century Stampede, Rarity Collection 1, Rarity Collection 2, quarter century Bonanza, and also Phantom Nightmare, Retro Pack 1, all these different sets. They would buy out everything and scale them. But the problem with sets like Rarity Collection 1, Rarity Collection 2, Bonanza, and Stampede is that excuse me, is that every card in every pack is a foil card. Super rare, ultra, secret, ulti, collector rare, starlight rare, everything, and those types of sets, scalpers would never sell them. they would never sell them because they know that there are holos in every pack, and they want to keep all the holos for themselves. So they would buy out sets like Phantom Nightmare and whatever, and literally take the cards that are out that are in the packs of Phantom Nightmare, put them in the packs of a set like Quarter Century Stampede, and literally reseal them and pass it off as a Quarter Century Stampede booster pack and sell it for 10, 15, 20 bucks when it's literally Phantom Nightmare. That's literally scalping. Interestingly enough, the Pokemon Company actually found a way to stop scalping from becoming quite the epidemic. So this was actually an article from none other than comicbook.com, so big shout out to them. No copyrights as always. This was the official the official statement from that website. It says here, quote, as frustrations continue to grow over stock issues related to the Pokemon TCG, fans and collectors want to see the Pokemon Company step in and prevent items from being bought up by resellers. According to a new report from PokeBeach, it appears that some preventative measures are being put in place. The first is taking place at the Pokemon Center location in Singapore. The official location now has a policy where the plastic wrap will be removed from the products following a sale. This has been done in the past, but only at Japanese locations. As PokeBeach notes, this is the first time this has been done with English products. The theory behind this decision is that Pokemon collectors will have no problem buying the product with the plastic wrap removed, since they were likely going to open it up anyway. However, resellers will have a harder time flipping unsealed products, as it will lead to less confidence from buyers on sites like eBay. It is a small measure, and it's hard to say how much impact it will have. However, it does show that the Pokemon Company is trying to make sure these products end up in the hands of specific buyers. Let's see here. In addition to removing the plastic wrap from the products, the Pokemon Company is taking active measures locally. Outages at Pokemon TCG vending machines have been a big source of frustration lately, and it seems a fix is in sight. The vending machines will have purchase limits and now say that quote, machine product will be released periodically. Basically, this means a potential reseller or a store employee can't simply buy out all the products, because the machine will have a kind of a rest period once a set amount of stock has been exhausted. This would make it a lot more time consuming to clear out a machine's stock and make it more obvious to store employees what's taking place. The machine also now has a signage discouraging loitering for this particular reason. Neither of these measures will single-handedly stop resellers, but they show that the Pokemon Company is making an attempt to get the situation under control. Resellers can have a negative impact on the long-term health of the brand, and could convince some fans to move on to competitors like Larcana or Magic the Gathering, both of which have had their own problems in terms of resellers. The point is, it's much better for the health of the TCG to have these cards in the hands of fans, and it seems like that's likely what the Pokemon Company is trying to do. There's no single act that's going to fix all of the problems with the Pokemon TCG's stock issues. Resellers are still going to buy what they can to find ways of working around any hurdles that are put in place. On top of preventing reselling, the Pokemon Company can deal with these problems by ensuring that stores are getting a lot more product. That does seem to be a priority at the moment. So hopefully all of these strategies will help improve the situation. So this right here is actually the big problem, right? Even though the Pokemon Company is removing the plastic wrap, this is where scalpers can literally find a way to sell products at a much more higher premium. How? By using cling film. Literally their own plastic wrap from home that you can get at your local grocery store or whatever. People will buy literally rolls and rolls of cling film and wrap up that specific booster box or whatever and sell that product at 10 times their original amount. So what people will do is they'll buy out multiple booster boxes or potential ETBs of a specific set, such as Journey Together, was it? Yeah, such as Journey Together, Prismatic Evolutions, Destined Rivals, whatever. They'll buy out all these boxes, take the packs out, scale them, put the same amount of packs back into the box, reseal them, and pass it off as a legit Pokemon Company sealed product, which is very stupid and just absolutely horrible. This has put such a negative impact on not just the Pokemon TCG, but every other TCG in existence, including Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, the new game Lorcana, Digimon, One Piece, Dragon Ball Super, which I know that game had a lot of hype about 2 or 3 years ago. It just didn't really sell well. So unfortunately, Dragon Ball Super was discontinued from what I remember. And even also Topps has had a very rich history of resellers buying out products and selling them on eBay, passing them off as like heavy packs or whatever. In fact, if you can believe it, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Topps, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon were the top 3 TCGs that scalpers would buy out the products and resell them to literally just to make profit, which is very stupid and very time consuming on their end. But it's like I said, it doesn't matter what measures the Pokemon Company will do, or what Topps will do, or what Konami will do. It doesn't matter. All these scalpers are gonna find ways to resell products at 10, 20 times their original value. Let me give you a good example. Let me give you a good example. Take this for example. This is my Korean Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon booster box that I got from my partners over at Collector Store. So be sure to check them out. Link and address will be in the description below. I got this about 3 or 4 years ago for $20. Okay, for $20. So let's say for example, this very booster box was sold at Target. Let's say that. What people will do is they will buy the product. They will buy this product, take out the packs, and scale them. They would literally scale the pack. And there are so many, and again, there are so many ways that people can scale packs. One way is by taking 2 packs and doing this, literally weighing them like this. If they feel like that this pack, if they feel like that this pack is heavier than this one, then they would literally take this pack, keep this one for themselves, and sell this for $30. For $30, even though this is only like a $5, maybe a $6 pack, you know. So that's something that that has been quite it's been quite an epidemic for not just for Yu-Gi-Oh, but for pretty much every single TCG, and it's getting to a point now where all these different TCG companies are gonna want to have no choice but to try and limit purchasing to only like 1 or 2 per person. But that doesn't matter. They've been doing that for a very long time, literally ever since excuse me, ever since the pandemic started back in 2020, five years ago. All these different stores, Target, Walmart, Meijer, Tesco, what other stores can I name? Local grocery stores. I know sometimes local grocery stores will sometimes sell packs, rent literally just out of the blue. They've literally put up signs where it says only 2 per person or 3 per person or something like that. What people will do is they will go to their local Walmart, local Target, or whatever. They'll buy three mini boxes of, let's say, what's a good example? I'll say Retro Pack 1, the North American printing of Retro Pack 1. They'll buy three mini boxes of it and wait until the very next day, or wait a few hours, come back, buy 3 more, and then they would repeat the cycle over and over again until they have bought out everything and sell off the packs by scaling them. That right there has been one of the biggest epidemics for not just for Yu-Gi-Oh, but for Pokemon, for Magic the Gathering, which even Magic has had a lengthy history of scalpers. In fact, Magic the Gathering, obviously, everyone knows that Magic the Gathering has been around for a long time. In fact, it's been around, I believe, since 1990. Yeah, literally since 1993, which was created by none other than Richard Garfield. So big shout outs to him. And interestingly enough, people have especially with a lot of the older sets, and even with some of the current sets that Magic has released, people will buy out whatever the hottest thing going is and resell them at 10 times their original value. There's one specific card that became very synonymous with Magic the Gathering. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there is one card that has been arguably one of, if not the most sought after card in existence, and there were only a large amount of copies made in the world, and it is known as Black Lotus. From what I remember, and from the stories that I was told, this card was meant to be in some sort of booster set, but it got printed in the very first ever structure deck, known as Alpha, I think it's called, and it ended up being banned for a very interesting reason. So the effect on Black Lotus reads as follows: add three mana of any single color of your choice to your mana pool. Then is discarded. Tapping this artifact can be played as an interrupt. So in a way, for Yu-Gi-Oh, we have a very banned card that's been banned for years. It will never come off the list. Known as Pot of Greed. For Pokemon, I believe it is a alternate art printing of Misty's Tears. I believe it got banned in the OCG due to censoring bullshit, due to censoring rights or something like that. Magic has Black Lotus. In fact, it's been banned for so many years, and it became one of the most sought after cards in existence. In fact, during the pandemic, there were 2 copies of the card that was sold for literally $500,000. A CGC grade 10 alpha version of Black Lotus was sold last year for $3 million. This has become very... Again, this card has become very sought after. In fact, interestingly enough, for the alpha version of the card, there were only 1,100 copies made in the world, 3,300 copies made in the world for beta, and then for an unlimited print, there were 18,000 made in the world. So think about that, right? Think about that. 1,100, 3,300, and 18,000, right? Yep. That is a combined total of 22,400 cards. So there was a very that is a very low amount of copies made in the world. In fact, with the alpha card, they've only been seen by the public only a few times. No one knows who else could have that copy. But imagine if the alpha set. Think about this. Imagine if the alpha set was released in 2025. Imagine that. People will buy out multiple boxes of alpha, find the Black Lotus, and sell everything else. This has been one of the worst epidemics since COVID. Literally. This this whole scalping bullshit has become such an epidemic. That it doesn't matter what all of these different TCG companies will do. It doesn't matter what they do. Scalpers will always find a way to bypass all the regulations and sell them on the black market for a very high value. I feel like as if for online selling vendors, such as Troll and Toad, TCG Player, eBay, Amazon. The only way that this epidemic could go down completely is if all these online vendors had a limit to how many people can sell at a time. And I feel like if that were to be the case, maybe the epidemic could finally come to an end. But it doesn't matter, because sellers will literally make multiple accounts and sell everything on the black market for a high price. Honestly, I really don't know what could be done to stop this epidemic, like literally like bring it to an end. There's really no telling what could be done. Not even I know. But I will say that this has become such a bad habit for resellers. It's gonna get to a point where people who play Pokemon, people who play Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic and White Schwartz and One Piece, it's gonna get to a point where people who play these card games they're not gonna want to play anymore. So they'll just end up quitting. They'll just end up quitting the game. Sell the collection, sell what they have, and just move on to something completely different. Like maybe go into collecting video games or something like that. Which I think there is a scalping epidemic for video games. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't know, guys. I don't know about you guys, but this is one epidemic that definitely needs to come to an end, but no one knows what to do. So I'm sure that companies like the Pokemon Company and Wizards of the Coast and Konami, they'll find some way. They will find some way. But with that being said, that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more TCG topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.